resort we went to on our honeymoon. We've been saying for years we should go back. We were so happy there. We'll go there and we'll just fix this. Brad shook his head. I don't want to work on fixing things anymore. It shouldn't be this hard. You and I were always better on paper than in person, and with Taylor, it's just easy. Taylor? She's 22, isn't she? You're leaving me for a cliché. Brad jerked his head to the side to crack his neck, which made me cringe. He knew I couldn't stand when he did that, and apparently didn't care anymore. Don't you see? This is exactly what I'm talking about. You don't even care that I'm not happy. You just care about how you're going to look when you tell people. I glared at him. How dare he act like I was shallow for not caring about his feelings when he was leaving me for a 22-year-old? My mouth dropped open to argue, to tell him that he was the one who didn't care about my feelings. But all that came out was a whisper. But we're married. Brad leaned forward, his elbows on his knees, and began to speak, his tone earnest. But I only heard phrases over the roaring in my ears. Unhappy for a while now. Realized I was relieved when you weren't pregnant. Fighting so much. Not in love anymore. Both deserve better. I interrupted him mid-sentence. I may not have comprehended much of what he said, but I had heard enough. You won't even try? I'm sorry. But we just ordered a Peloton. It hasn't even come yet. He shook his head, rolling his eyes slightly. You can have it. I don't care about the stupid Peloton. He flinched. I looked up at him. So, what? You're just leaving? He cleared his throat again, and this time I felt my chest clench as I realized the next problem. Tonight, yes. And you can stay as long as you need to until you figure out what you want to do. But I held up a hand, and he stopped talking. I knew what was coming. The condo was his before we got married. I had never been on the deed. And as a middle school teacher, I knew it was way, way out of my price range. I'll help you out as much as you need to get on your feet. I guess I need a lawyer to figure out how this works. I was trying to get a reaction. Brad was a lawyer, and that had to sting. But he nodded. I'm going to sell the condo. I'll give you half. My mouth opened again, this time to tell him I didn't want it. But I shut it quickly. If he was going to blow up everything we had built and leave me single and homeless at 34, I shouldn't walk away with just a ridiculously expensive exercise bike. I nodded, almost imperceptibly. He stood and walked to the door, where he picked up a duffel bag that I hadn't noticed him packing. I'm sorry, he said one more time from the doorway, pulling off his wedding ring and leaving it on the little table where we put the mail. And then he was gone. I dropped my head into my hands, tears of frustration at my own inadequacy beginning to fall. How did this happen? I asked myself. We had been together 6 years. 6 years! And then just out of the blue... But was it out of the blue? A tiny voice in my head asked. Now that I knew the context, he had been smiling at his phone a lot. In a way, he didn't smile at me anymore. When had he stopped looking at me like that? I never even asked him what he was smiling about. But the truth was, I didn't care. I should have cared. I should have asked. I should have realized something was wrong when he stopped wanting to have sex. Or maybe I should have cared when I stopped wanting to, which was a long time before he did. But I hadn't. I swore, breaking the silence of the room. It was too quiet. I looked around my home of the last 5 years, seeing it through fresh eyes now. This condo, well, it had always been a way station. Even before we got married, the plan was to buy a house to start our family in. This was never a forever home. And maybe that was where the trouble started. I was ready to move and try for a baby 4 years ago.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.